Legend of the Superstition Mountains way in Tuttle, and up on a short hill here, short distance from the cabin. You can see it out there in the distance. And that was where Albert Schaffer and John Beggs were. The story as it goes, and through the probate and other records, was Beggs died, and never mind the donkey, but Schaffer buried his partner up on the hill. Here we see a stone, and it says, "Here rests John Beggs, Israel," born, looks like January 26, 1859, died October 17th, 1921. A nice monument made, great deal of care taken by Schaffer to build this, set this monument, and this would be the last resting place of John Beggs. The Israel surname was something that the group, the Christian church group that Schaffer and Julia Thomas were a part of, everyone's last name was Israel, so that's why that's added there. The death certificate, I believe, does just say John Beggs. When Schaffer went to pass away and was ill for a short period of time, at first, his first will, he asked to be buried next to his wife Julia Thomas. Within a week or two, he was still hanging in there, but then a second will was made where he asked to be buried next to his partner John Beggs. While this tombstone here, the stone, the marker, the monument, is worn away and almost nothing is legible on it, it would have to be believed, with these being the actual claims, the mines, both located on the property, the cabin, John Beggs' resting place right here beside this. I think that would be conclusive enough to say this is the resting place of Albert Schaffer, husband of Julia Thomas Schaffer. Albert Schaffer did hunt the Lost Dutchman Mine with Julia. This was after the initial searches with Reinhard Petrasch, Herman Petrasch, and Gottfried Petrasch. When he became ill, a couple guys came up and found him fading fast, and it appeared it was some sort of stomach problem issue, and they cared for, attended to him. They would use those two individuals, I believe, took over the claims these two gentlemen had, and worked them after that. Albert Schaffer's sister actually came out into the probate, received all his things and all that afterwards. Very lonely place. Kind of definitely throws in the whole idea of putting the history together. This is the sort of thing I definitely love doing, being able to come upon and looking for something and finding the shacks, the mines, the burial places, definitely putting it all in historical context. And then, as I said, it shows the great care that Albert Schaffer gave to his friend. And while it's not a durable monument, again, Albert Schaffer was buried according to his last wishes here on this hillside. What became a bit controversial is while I was able to prove out that Julia Thomas wasn't buried where she said she was buried, it is believed by the ranchers that there was another burial up here on this hillside, right in this general area. It's hard to see. The first time I came up, you could still see a little bit of the outline where there might have been a depression with a second or third burial on the hill. It's a very real possibility that Julia Thomas could be buried here. I've not, with ground penetrating radar or anything else, been able to prove anything else. Found no record of her being moved from the Jewish cemetery. So that curiosity will always be there, and Julia's resting place still is unknown. It would have been hoped, if it would have been proper and best, she would have been buried between these two gentlemen or somewhere here beside Albert. Not knowing all the circumstances and no other further history, it's hard to say. Definitely in a place like this, and if you do find a location like this, always check with the ranchers, speak to them, make your inroads. I've always shared my research, the documents and all that I have, making sure that they have them, they know what I'm doing, and then they know a little of the history. When I first came out here, I was asking about a burial or a grave site in the area, if anyone knew of any. I was directed to a gentleman here. He said there were two up on the hillside. I was only looking for one. I did not know about John Beggs at the time. He directed me up, And then as we got up here and crested the hills, when he turned and said, and by the way, that's the shack, that was their shack. Finding out about the mines, everything, it tells you that just being friendly, coming out, asking questions, introducing yourself can be a major payoff and a major payday. And over the years, I've really enjoyed the site. Brought Greg Davis from the Superstition Mountain Historical Society up here to document this, and as well as my partner and good friend Randy Wright, who spent some time up as we worked out and looking over the claims in other areas. But again, proper respect and courtesy will pay off and go a long way dealing with this. So here we are, Wayne Tuttle, Legend of the Superstition Mountains, the burial place of Albert Schaffer, his partner John Beggs, and possibilities of so many other things here out along the Hassayampa River.